everyone, it's Margaret with Creative Stamping with Margaret. Thanks for joining me. Today's card is one of the cards from the February 2025 card class. This is one of 4 cards, so there are actually 4 different videos, each one highlighting one of the cards from the class. This is a fun fold, and I'm calling it a cascading card. I actually saw this design on a fellow demonstrator's website, Connie Stewart, over at Simply Simple Stamping. I will put her information down in the description of this video so you can go and look at the samples that she made. But when I saw that design, I just thought it would be perfect to highlight this mixed media product suite. That's what the focus was for February, so we have used that online suite for all 4 of our cards. As mentioned, it is an online exclusive, so in the description of this video where I have all of the cut dimensions, because I'm not going to go over all of those as I show you how to assemble and how to make this cascade, but I will have the cut dimensions for all of the cardstock as well as the designer paper and a list of all the materials we've used. Let's get started. So for our card base, we're using Boho Blue. Then we're going to have the pieces that we're going to use as our panels to attach. I'm using that beautiful mixed media designer series paper from the suite. I'm also using both of the bundles that they have. I'm using the Mixed Florals. We're using the cone flower, and then I'm using the sentiment, I'm so glad we're friends, from the mixed labels. And of course, there's no die cutting on this one, so we're not using the dies that coordinate. But first I want to show you how this, how we make this cascade. So this Boho Blue, typically when we make a card, we take our 8.5 by 11 and we cut it in half at 5.5. You will still do that so that you have the 5.5 by 8.5, but then we're going to take a quarter off. So this is actually 5.5 by 8.25, and then it's been scored at 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'm going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to mark at 2 3/4, which is actually half of that 5.5. So let me just pull out a little, make just a little mark. Might be easier if I just do it with a touch of it. Pen. Then we're going to align that with the score where that, I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm going to pull this up. So we're going to cut this diagonal. So here I have the where at the 4-inch score where it's at the top, and then this 2 3/4, and I'm going to make sure I have that centered in that cutting track. And then we're just going to cut. That gives us our angle. See how simple that is? Then the next thing we're going to do is you're going to take and fold this, fold it in half, and here you're going to see that's where that 1/4 inch is off. We're going to burnish that piece, and now we're going to just accordion fold on each of these score lines. So now we have our card base ready. So for the inside, I had stamped just a note to let you know you're on my mind. I'm not going to stamp the inside of this one, this second one, the panel, but you can do that if you wanted. So you would just adhere those and then stamp. Actually, I may just go ahead. I pulled in another set of the flower stamps. I think I will stamp those. I'll stamp just a couple of those. I'm not going to carry it all the way across, mainly because, as you see, when it folds, it was off to the side, and I decided that this second time I did not want to do that. If you want to do that, by all means, do so, but I'm just going to do that one. And of course, the same on the envelope. If you want to do that on your envelope, do that as well. Of course, we are going to need our stamping blends. So let's pull, but before we do that, let me get a few of these things out of the way. And look, I just got a big glob of black ink right on the front of that card. Sometimes I'm able to erase that with a mono eraser. If you've watched any of these other videos, I think every video the last few days that I've done, I have gotten black ink there. I salvaged that. I have no idea where that came from. But anyway, let's get on with this. So the colors that you're going to need for your blends, I'm using Poppy Parade, Daffodil Delight. I've got the light Boho Blue, that's for the little flowers. I've got Shamrock. And then I have my color lifter, just to lift some of that Poppy Parade. And we will pull in and stamp the flower in just a moment, but let's go ahead and attach these panels. But I found it easier to go ahead and decorate the panels before I added them. So we have our blue, our Boho Blue, and then our black layers. And then, of course, this will go on top of that. So let's just go ahead and attach, get these layers going. We'll have all of these layers ready. We'll do our stamping and our coloring. and then attach these panels onto our accordion fold last. As I said, I found it easier to assemble all of these and then add them to our card base. So let's just go ahead and color this blue flower, and then we'll stamp the small panel on the front to finish it. And I'm not even filling in these flowers all the way. I'm leaving some white around. And we'll have that one. Now we'll pull in our white here for the front, that's small. And we're only going to, as you see on our sample, we're only doing just this upper portion. So that's all we need to ink up. Actually, I need to ink up just a little bit more. We do want a leaf. We do want a leaf on there. And now I'm bringing in the I'm So Glad We're Friends. Let me just check and make sure I have this straight. I do, so I'm covering this black ink, getting it out of the way, and checking my fingers. I think I'm okay. So now we'll pull in this blue, just as we did on that other panel, that back panel. I'm just dotting it. I'm not even filling it in all the way. And this one is the light boho blue. Next, I'm bringing in this Shy Shamrock, and this is the light. Usually I start with dark, but for this, it's such a small stem piece that we're showing. I'm going to do the light first, and then just add a touch or two of the dark, where it would be just a little bit darker there and right along there. Now for the cone flower itself, for the head, I'm taking the dark Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to follow along where those little dots, the little seed dots are. Then come back in with my light. Whoops, wrong end. Use the light and just go all over that. And then I'm coming back with the dark again just to add a little bit more depth along that. Now for the fun part, we're using the Poppy Parade. So right up against the base of the cone flower where the seed cap is, I'm just coming in with my dark Poppy Parade. Now for the light. I'm going to pull it just sort of. Let me get the other end. That end felt just a touch dry. There. And I have another set that I just ordered because this one is getting a little dry, but I think I can get enough ink out of it to finish this flower. Plus, I'm going to go back over this with the color lifter just to give it a little lift and a little bit of a watercolor look. Of course, if you wanted, you could also do this with your watercolor. Take out the watercolor paper. Of course, you will need, if you're going to use that and your watercolor pencils and the aqua painters, you will need to use your other black ink. You'll need to use the StazOn. Otherwise, it will bleed. Because the Memento is a water base, so the water would cause the black to bleed. And as you see, I'm just taking the color lifter right across the petals from the top to the bottom, and I'm just sort of streaking down. That just lifts them, as you see how I've done that on the sample card. So we're through with those. So let me move this other paper out of the way. So pull these in. We're going to attach. Go ahead and attach this front panel. Now we're going to attach all of these to the base. So of course we have our largest is on the back, so that's our back panel. Make sure I have that even and straight. Okay. Now for our panel with our designer series paper. So that's going to tuck right in there. So what we want to do is, I found it easiest just to add some of my liquid adhesive, because this is going to get a lot of pull, just to put the liquid adhesive on the panel where it's going to fit in there versus trying to determine here. So let me get this up right. And we're going to just tuck that in, aligning, making sure this bottom edge is all lined up and tucked into that snugly. And we can turn that over and just rub, get a good rub there. Now, this one will go on the front so that we can pull it as such. So we're going to put our adhesive on the front here. And there again, we just want to place that, making sure that that bottom edge and the side, the left side, are all lined up, and just press that. Then I like to turn it over, and I actually am going to take my bone folder and just really press that good. Get that so it has a good connection. Then the last thing that we are going to do, I'm pulling in some of the brushed brass butterflies, and we'll just place a couple of those around. Pulled that one off without the adhesive. Let me get oops, flipping things all over here. Okay, and then we have our larger butterfly that we'll just stick maybe right there. So this is Margaret Knight with Creative Stamping with Margaret. I hope you've enjoyed this fun fold card. As I stated near the start of this video, in the description is where you'll find all of the measurements and scoring, etc., all the materials you'll need. If you ordered a kit to go, you'll receive all of these papers, all of the materials already cut for you. You'll just need to do your stamping and coloring, and then of course the assembly. But I have already scored and cut the angle for you, but now you know how to do it, so you can replicate the cards. Again, this is Margaret. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.